How to Become the Best Version of Yourself, 2025 edition. It started with a notification. A simple, familiar sound ping echoing across the kitchen counter of a man who had long forgotten what real change felt like. Liam Ross stared down at the screen of his aging phone. A calendar alert glowed brightly. New year, new me, start today. He scoffed. It was January 3, 2025. 2 days late already, he thought. The morning sun pushed its way through dusty blinds, landing on a stack of unopened mail, a half-eaten bowl of cereal, and a journal Liam had bought specifically to change his life, but never wrote a single word in. He ran a hand through his hair, feeling the roughness of exhaustion. He was only in his early 30s, but something about his face looked older, worn not by age, but by unkept promises. This year will be different. He'd said that in 2021. 2022, 2023. 2024, every year, he meant it. Every year, he broke it. And here he was again. Standing in the same small kitchen. Feeling the same quiet disappointment. Watching the same world move on without him. He sighed and turned off the phone screen, ready to shove the moment aside, but then he froze. Someone knocked on his door. 3 slow, deliberate knocks. Not impatient. Not random. Intentional. Liam blinked. He wasn't expecting anyone. He approached the door, hesitating for a moment before opening it. A man stood outside. Tall. Calm. Eyes sharp with conviction. Not intimidating, but undeniably present, the kind of presence that makes the world feel suddenly smaller. Liam blinked again. Can I help you? Yes, the man said. You can. His voice was quiet, steady, as if he'd spoken this sentence 1,000 times in 1,000 different doorways. Liam stared, confused. Do I know you? No, the man said. But I know you. Liam frowned. Okay, that's creepy. The man tilted his head slightly. You feel stuck. Liam stiffened. You feel behind, the man continued. Like the world is moving forward without you. Like everyone else got a map for life, and you didn't. Liam's heart pounded. What are you, some kind of therapist? A salesman? The man shook his head once. I'm here because you're standing at the edge of a year that could change everything, and you're about to waste it again. Liam felt his jaw tighten. Who the hell are you? The stranger stepped forward, speaking with the kind of certainty Liam hadn't felt in years. I'm here to show you how to become the best version of yourself, he said. The 2025 version. The one you're afraid to believe is possible. Liam opened his mouth to reply, but the world around him suddenly shifted. The air thickened. The sunlight dimmed. And before he could take a breath, the stranger lifted a hand and said, Look. The kitchen dissolved into smoke. Then into darkness. Then into a vision. Liam saw himself standing in the middle of a busy intersection, traffic, lights, roaring engines, but his future self didn't flinch. He looked sharper. Focused. Strong. Purposeful. His posture alone radiated confidence. This version of Liam walked through the chaos like he belonged there, like he was built for bigger things. Liam swallowed. That's me? One version, the stranger said. The version you become if you choose growth in 2025. Liam's chest tightened. And if I don't? The stranger didn't move. The scene shifted. A dim apartment. A sagging couch. Take-out boxes. A man sitting in the dark, scrolling endlessly through social media feeds full of people doing everything he wished he could do. A man with the same face as Liam, but duller. Empty. Shrunken. That, the stranger said, is the version of you built by comfort. Liam felt something sharp twist in his gut. He turned to the stranger. "Why are you showing me this? Why me?" The stranger took a slow breath. "Because 2025 isn't just another year," he said. "It's a crossroads. The world is changing. People are evolving. Expectations are rising. Opportunities are multiplying. And you," he stepped forward. "You have no idea how much potential you've been wasting." Liam felt anger mixing with shame. But beneath both, a spark. "Okay," Liam whispered. "Then show me. Show me how to become him, the better me." The stranger nodded. "Good," he said. "But understand this, becoming the best version of yourself isn't a feeling. It's a process. And that process starts now." The vision collapsed into blinding white light. Liam blinked. He was back in his kitchen. The stranger still stood at the door. "Your journey," the man said, "begins with the first rule." "What rule?" The stranger leaned in. "Upgrade your identity before you upgrade your habits." Liam's breath caught. Before he could respond, the stranger turned and walked away, leaving a single sentence hanging in the air like a doorway to a different life. "When you're ready, follow me." Liam stood frozen for several long seconds. Then stepped outside into the cold January air of 2025. His journey had begun. The morning air bit at Liam's skin as he stepped outside. Frost clung to car roofs, lawns, and mailboxes, turning his street into a quiet sculpture garden under a pale January sun. His breath fogged in front of him as he tightened his jacket and scanned the empty sidewalk. The stranger was gone. No footprints. No shadow turning the corner. No sign he'd ever been there at all. Liam stood still, confused and borderline irritated. "Great," he muttered. "Either I'm losing my mind or I just met the world's most mysterious motivational speaker." But the words the man had left him with kept echoing: "Upgrade your identity before you upgrade your habits." Liam didn't fully understand it, but he felt it like a truth he'd always known but never articulated. He started walking. Not toward anywhere specific, just walking. He needed to think. Needed to breathe. Needed to feel like he was doing something instead of suffocating in the same stale routine he'd been drowning in for years. His neighborhood was quiet. The occasional dog barked. A neighbor scraped ice from a windshield. A jogger sprinted past, earbuds in, locked into some morning ritual Liam wished he had. As Liam crossed the small park near his building, a flicker of motion caught his eye. Someone was sitting on a bench. The stranger. Liam stopped mid-stride. "Okay, seriously," he said under his breath. "How does he keep doing that?" The stranger didn't look up as Liam approached. Instead, he spoke as if continuing a conversation they'd paused only moments ago. "Identity drives behavior," he said. "Always. People try to change their actions without changing who they believe they are." Liam sat down cautiously, leaving a respectful distance. "You mean like, trying to be productive while seeing myself as a lazy person?" The stranger glanced at him. "Exactly. Trying to be consistent when you believe you're inconsistent. Trying to be confident when you still see yourself as insecure." Liam rubbed his hands together for warmth. "So how do I upgrade my identity?" The stranger stood. "Come with me." "Oh great," Liam muttered. More mystery. But he followed. They walked toward the far edge of the park, where a path curved into a row of tall winter trees. The frost-covered branches arched overhead, forming a cold tunnel of silver light and shadow. As they walked, the stranger spoke again. "In 2025, the world will reward one thing above all else," he said. "Not intelligence. Not luck. Not talent." "What then?" "Alignment." Liam frowned. "Alignment with what?" "With who you choose to be." They reached the center of the tree tunnel. The stranger stopped and turned to face him. "Close your eyes," he said. Liam hesitated. "Is this the part where you hypnotize me?" The stranger didn't smile. "Close them." Liam did. "Now," the stranger said softly, "imagine the version of yourself you saw earlier, confident, focused, fully alive. How does he walk?" Liam pictured it. Straight. Purposeful. How does he speak? With certainty. What does he believe about himself? Liam swallowed. That he can do hard things. The stranger stepped closer. Good. Now the key question: does he behave differently because he feels like the best version of himself, or because he decided to act like him before he became him? Liam's eyes opened slowly. "He decided," he whispered. "Yes." The stranger nodded. "That is identity first. Habit second." A gust of cold wind rushed between them, rattling the frost-covered branches above their heads. The stranger continued, "People fail because they think habits create identity. But identity is the soil. Habits are the flowers." Liam inhaled shakily. "So you're saying I need to choose who I want to be before I try to do anything?" "I'm saying you must embody him before you earn him." They stood in silence for a moment. Only the wind spoke. Then the stranger lifted a hand and snapped his fingers. The world around them flickered. The trees stretched into skyscrapers. The frost melted into neon city lights. The ground beneath Liam's feet transformed into asphalt, buzzing with the energy of a futuristic city. He spun around, heart pounding. What is this?" The stranger stepped into the glowing street of this alternate world. "This," he said, "is the version of 2025 you enter when you evolve instead of repeat." Liam stared at the skyline, sleek towers, holographic billboards, autonomous cars gliding silently. The city was alive in a way he'd never seen. Fast. Bright. Full of possibility. People moved with intent, no aimless wandering, no mindless scrolling, no lost expressions. Everyone seemed to be on their path, aligned with their purpose. "This world," the stranger said, "belongs to people who know who they are." Liam swallowed. "And the other world?" The stranger snapped again. The vibrant city dissolved. Now Liam stood in a dim room filled with people slumped over couches, scrolling endlessly through feeds, drowning in noise, comfort, and distraction. The room buzzed with meaningless notifications, pings, buzzes, flashes, endless loops of consumption. "This world," the stranger said quietly, "belongs to people who never decided who they could become." Liam stared at the zombified faces, dull, tired, half asleep to their own lives. "This is terrifying," Liam whispered. "It should be," the stranger replied. "Because most people in 2025 are living in this world without realizing it." The room faded. They returned to the frosty park path. Liam stood there, breath visible in the cold air, shaken. What do I do from here?" The stranger finally smiled, the smallest hint of approval. "You make your first identity shift. Right now." Liam's pulse quickened. "How?" The stranger leaned in and whispered, "Stop calling yourself who you used to be." Liam froze. "This year," the stranger said, "you speak as the person you're becoming, not the person you're escaping." Liam's voice trembled. "And who am I becoming?" "That," the stranger said, "is what we discover next." He turned and began walking deeper into the park, leaving Liam standing in the cold. Liam stared at the ground, breath shaking, mind racing. Then he lifted his head. And followed. The frost-covered ground crunched beneath Liam's footsteps as he followed the stranger deeper into the park. The air felt heavier now, not cold, but charged, as if every breath carried the weight of a decision he hadn't fully made yet. They walked until the trees thinned and opened into a wide, empty field dusted with winter. The sky stretched above them like a pale canvas waiting to be written on. The stranger stopped. Liam stopped beside him. "What is this place?" Liam asked. The stranger scanned the horizon. "A place where people confront themselves." Liam frowned. "Confront myself how?" The stranger raised his hand and pointed at the center of the field. "By meeting him." Liam followed the direction of the gesture and froze. A figure stood alone in the distance. Dark jacket. Hands in pockets. Head low. Liam squinted. "Is that?" "Yes," the stranger said. "It's you." But it wasn't the confident future version he'd seen earlier. It wasn't the broken version either. This was the current him. The Liam who procrastinated. The Liam who doubted himself. The Liam who kept choosing comfort even when it cost him progress. Liam's stomach dropped. "I don't want to see this," he muttered. "You must," the stranger said. "Every person who evolves has to face the version of themselves they're trying to leave behind." Liam's throat tightened. "What do I do?" "You walk," the stranger said. "And you tell him the truth." Liam took a breath that felt like swallowing ice. Then he walked toward his other self. The closer he got, the clearer the reflection became, the slouched posture, the exhausted eyes, the subtle bitterness of someone who wanted more but never believed he could have it. When Liam finally reached him, he felt a jolt like electricity passing between two parallel worlds. The other Liam lifted his head. His voice was quiet. "Tired. Familiar. Why are you here?" Liam hesitated. He'd never spoken to himself honestly before. Not this self. The version he always tried to avoid looking at too closely. "I'm here," Liam said slowly, "because I'm done being you." The other Liam blinked. "Why? What's wrong with me?" Liam looked him straight in the eye. "You settle." A flicker of pain crossed the other Liam's face. "You choose comfort over growth," Liam continued. "You choose distraction over progress. You choose fear over effort. You choose excuses over opportunity." Each sentence hit like a blade. But Liam didn't stop. "And the truth is," he said, taking a step closer, "I'm tired of living a life that belongs to the part of me that's scared." The other Liam's jaw clenched. "You think I'm weak?" "No," Liam said, voice steadier now. "I think you're stuck." A long silence followed. Cold wind brushed past them, carrying bits of frost across the field like scattered memories. Finally, the other Liam spoke. "You're right," he whispered. "But I'm also scared you'll fail. That you'll try to change and just fall back into the same patterns." Liam exhaled. "That's why I'm here," he said. "Because I can't become the best version of myself if I'm still chained to the version that gave up every time things got hard." The other Liam's eyes softened. "So what happens to me?" Liam swallowed. This part hurt. "You don't disappear," he said. "You become fuel." He stepped even closer. "You become the reminder of who I refuse to be in 2025. A gust of cold air swept across the field, sharp, sudden, cutting through the silence. The other Liam lowered his head. Then nodded. "I hope you become him," he whispered. "The version you saw. The one I never believed I could be." Liam felt something shift inside his chest, a weight lifting, a chain breaking, a door unlocking. "I will," Liam said softly. "Because I'm choosing to." As he spoke those words, the air around the other Liam shimmered. His figure began dissolving into white light, slowly, peacefully, like fog dispersing under a rising sun. Liam watched him fade, tears stinging the corners of his eyes. The stranger appeared beside him. "That," the stranger said calmly, "was your first evolution." Liam wiped his eyes. Why did it feel like letting go of a friend? The stranger looked out over the now empty field. Because even your worst habits once protected you. But growth requires releasing the version of yourself who played small. The field shifted again. Not violently, gently, like paper folding itself into a new shape. The frost melted. Grass turned greener. Light warmed the horizon. The entire landscape transformed into a new stage of Liam's life. The stranger stepped forward. Now, he said, it's time for the second rule. Liam steadied himself. What is it? The stranger turned, eyes sharp with purpose. Your environment must evolve with your identity. Liam frowned. Meaning what? The stranger motioned toward the changing world around them. Meaning, he said, you cannot become the best version of yourself in the same world that created the worst version. Liam's pulse quickened. And what do I do now? He asked. The stranger's voice lowered, almost reverent. You prepare, he said. Because your environment is about to test you in ways you never expected. A shadow stretched across the newly warmed grass. Liam turned. A massive, looming silhouette approached from the distance, something he recognized instantly, even without seeing its face. His past. Coming back for him. And this time, he would have to fight. Liam's pulse hammered in his ears as the silhouette in the distance grew larger, clearer, heavier. It wasn't a person, not exactly. It was a shape made of memories, a living monument built from the pieces of his past he had never resolved. Regret. Fear. Old habits. Broken promises. Comfort. Self-doubt. All of it fused together into a towering figure, walking toward him with slow, thunderous steps that made the ground tremble. Liam swallowed. What is that? The stranger didn't look away. That, he said, is everything you never confronted. Everything you ran from. Everything that shaped the version of yourself you just said goodbye to. Liam took a step back. So it's here to destroy me? The stranger shook his head slowly. It's here to see if you meant what you said. The massive figure stopped just a few yards away. The air thickened. The temperature dropped. Liam felt the weight of old decisions pressing against his chest like invisible anchors. The silhouette lowered its head, and a deep, resonant voice shook the air. You think you can leave me behind? Liam froze. The voice wasn't foreign. It wasn't threatening. It was familiar. It was his own voice, the voice he heard at 2 a.m. when doubt whispered in the dark. The voice that convinced him not to start things, not to finish things, not to believe in himself. The stranger placed a hand on Liam's shoulder. Your environment tests you by resurrecting the past. If you want to evolve in 2025, you must prove you can walk forward without falling backward. Liam's throat tightened. But I don't know how to fight it. The stranger turned him toward the looming figure. You don't fight your past, he said. You anchor your future. Liam took a shaky step forward. The giant of memories leaned down, its shadow swallowing him whole. You're not ready, it rumbled. You've never followed through. You've never been consistent. You quit every time life gets hard. You're weak. Liam clenched his fists. The words sliced deeper than any blade could. Because they were true, or at least, they had been true. He felt the urge to shrink, to hide, to apologize for even trying to change. But then he remembered the vision, the future version of himself walking with clarity, purpose, strength. And he remembered the other version, sitting in the dark, scrolling his life away. He took a breath. No, Liam whispered. The giant leaned closer. What did you say? Liam lifted his head. Straighter. Stronger. I said no. His voice trembled, but didn't break. You're right about who I was. But you're wrong about who I'm becoming. The giant growled, shaking the ground. "You can't outrun me." "I'm not running," Liam said. "I'm choosing." The stranger stepped forward, standing at Liam's side. "This is the moment most people lose the battle," he said softly. "They try to replace their environment without replacing themselves. But you," he looked at Liam. "You've already done the first transformation." The giant reached out a hand, not human, but powerful enough to crush the ground beneath it. "You will fail again," it rumbled. "You always do." Liam felt fear claw at him, but he refused to step back. He took one more step forward instead. "No," he said. "This time, I fail forward." The giant froze. Liam continued, louder now. "With every mistake, I'll learn. With every setback, I'll adjust. With every doubt, I'll respond with action." He pointed at the giant, at his old self, his old patterns, his old life. "You're not my home anymore." Silence. Then the stranger said something Liam didn't expect. "Touch him." Liam blinked. "What?" "Touch the past," the stranger repeated. "Prove you're no longer afraid of it." Liam hesitated, heart pounding. But he stepped forward. The giant tensed, ready to strike. Liam reached out and placed his hand on the giant's massive chest. The world held its breath. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, slowly, impossibly, cracks of light began spreading across the giant's body, glowing like molten gold beneath stone. The giant staggered, voice trembling. What are you doing?" Liam pressed his hand harder. "I'm reclaiming what you tried to control." The cracks spread faster. Brighter. Wider. "I'm not destroying you," Liam said. "And I'm not running from you." The giant's form began to break apart into shards of light, drifting upward like embers. "I'm integrating you," Liam whispered. "And moving forward." The giant let out a final breath, not a roar, but a sigh. Then it dissolved completely, scattering into the sky like thousands of tiny stars. Liam lowered his hands slowly. The field warmed. The light returned. The stranger watched him with something close to pride. "You've just passed the second test," he said. Liam exhaled shakily. "So what now?" The stranger turned toward the horizon, where a faint golden road began forming through the field. "Now," he said, "we enter the hardest part of becoming the best version of yourself." Liam stared at the road. "And what part is that?" he asked. The stranger exhaled a phrase that made the air itself tighten. "Becoming the person your future depends on even when your present fights you." The wind shifted. The world darkened slightly. And something new appeared at the end of the golden road, a shape Liam couldn't quite make out. The stranger stepped forward. "Ready?" he asked. Liam took a deep breath. "Yes." And together they walked toward the unknown. The golden road shimmered beneath Liam's feet, stretching forward like a ribbon of possibility cutting through the vast landscape. Each step felt lighter than the last, not because the journey was easier, but because Liam was carrying less of who he used to be. The stranger walked beside him in silence, hands clasped behind his back, posture unshakably calm. The air around them hummed with an energy Liam couldn't explain, a strange mixture of anticipation, pressure, and potential. At the far end of the road, the mysterious shape grew clearer with every step. A building. Tall. Glass. Modern. Hovering slightly above the ground like it belonged to a future that hadn't arrived yet. As they approached, Liam felt a heaviness settle into his chest. "What is this place?" he asked quietly. The stranger's gaze never left the building. "This," he said, "is where most people fail to become the best version of themselves." Liam frowned. "A building makes people fail?" "This one does." The doors slid open without a sound. Inside was a long hallway, brightly lit but eerily empty. No furniture. No signs. No color. Just endless white stretching forward. Liam hesitated. It feels sterile. It is, the stranger said. Because this is the part of self-growth people underestimate the most. Liam looked around. What part? The stranger stepped forward, his voice echoing through the hall. The part where improvement becomes boring. Liam felt a chill run through him, a strange, unexpected chill. The stranger continued walking. This is the stage where there's no applause. No breakthroughs. No dramatic progress. No motivation. Just repetition. His voice echoed. Wake up. Work. Learn. Train. Improve. Repeat. Liam followed, digesting the words as they echoed through the hollow corridor. This, the stranger said, is where ambition goes to die. Liam swallowed. Because people get discouraged? No. Because they get bored. The hallway suddenly split into dozens of parallel hallways, all identical. Liam stopped, overwhelmed. Which way do we go? The stranger didn't answer. Instead, he motioned to the hallways. Pick one. Liam blinked. But they all look the same. The stranger nodded. Yes. Because discipline looks the same, no matter which path you choose. Liam felt a knot in his stomach. So if I pick the wrong one, there is no wrong one, the stranger said. There is only the one you stay consistent with. Liam looked down each identical hallway, left, right, forward. Every path looked equally dull, equally challenging. What happens if I stop walking? He asked. The stranger's face shifted into something colder. You fall back into who you used to be. Liam's pulse quickened. He took a deep breath. And chose the hallway on the right. He stepped forward, and the moment his foot touched the floor, something shifted. The walls changed. Screens flickered to life, lining both sides of the hall. Each screen glowed with scenes from Liam's real life. Not dramatic ones. Not traumatic ones. But mundane ones, Liam waking up tired and checking his phone first thing in the morning. Liam skipping his reading goal because one day off won't hurt. Liam cooking healthy for 2 days, then ordering pizza. Liam starting projects he never finished. Liam promising he'd wake up early, then hitting snooze. Scene after scene. Moment after moment. The quiet, invisible habits that shaped his years without him even noticing. Liam felt his cheeks flush with shame. Why am I seeing this? He asked. The stranger appeared beside a screen, touching it gently. Because your best self isn't destroyed by big failures. It's destroyed by small, daily choices that go unnoticed. Liam stared at one screen showing him lying on the couch after work, drained, unmotivated, mindlessly scrolling for hours. But I was tired, Liam whispered. Tired is real, the stranger said. Excuses are optional. The screen suddenly shifted to something new, a different Liam. One who woke up early without checking his phone. One who read 10 pages even when he didn't want to. One who went for a walk instead of scrolling. One who cooked instead of ordering fast food. One who worked on himself even when no one was watching. That future Liam grew sharper, stronger, calmer with each repetition. Liam felt something warm, a spark ignite in his chest. This, the stranger said, is what consistency looks like. Liam exhaled slowly. So, the boring part is actually where the transformation happens. Yes, the stranger said. This stage is the forge. The hallway continued ahead, endless, stretching into a vanishing point. Liam stepped forward. The screens flickered again. Now showing 2 timelines, left, Liam repeating old patterns. Right, Liam repeating new patterns. The difference was tiny at first, a minute, a choice, a moment. But as the timelines advanced, the gap widened. On the left, stress, chaos, regret, stagnation. On the right, confidence, clarity, momentum, growth. Liam stared in awe. All of that comes from small habits, he whispered. The stranger stepped beside him. In 2025, he said, small habits become massive changes. Because the world is faster, noisier, more distracting than ever. Growth goes to those who can stay steady. The hallway suddenly dimmed. A door appeared at the far end, glowing faintly, pulsing like a heartbeat. Liam pointed. What's that? The stranger's voice lowered. That is the doorway to the real test. Liam's breath hitched. What test? The stranger looked at him with eyes that seemed to hold the weight of decades. The test of identity collapse. Liam stepped back. Identity collapse? Yes, the stranger said. The moment when the new version of you and the old version of you collide and only one can survive. The hallway's lights flickered. The screens shut off. Darkness closed around them. Only the glowing door remained. Liam felt a chill crawl up his spine. The stranger turned to him. Are you ready? He asked. Liam inhaled deeply. I think so. The stranger shook his head. No, he placed a hand on Liam's shoulder. But go anyway. Liam stepped toward the glowing door, the air thick and electric around him. He grabbed the handle and pushed it open. The door swung open with a low, humming vibration, not loud, but deep enough for Liam to feel it in his bones. A rush of cold air spilled out, brushing against his skin like a warning. He stepped inside. The room was dark. Not pitch black, but dim in a way that felt intentional, like a theater moments before the spotlight hits. There was no furniture, no screens, no futuristic architecture like before. Just emptiness. A vast, silent void stretching outward. The stranger entered behind him. The final phase of transformation always begins in darkness. Because the greatest threat to your growth doesn't come from the outside world. Liam scanned the shadows. Then where does it come from? The stranger lifted a hand. From in here. He snapped his fingers. A light flickered on. Then another. And another. Until the entire chamber glowed in a cold, sterile white. Liam froze. Because he wasn't looking at walls. He wasn't looking at mirrors. He was looking at versions of himself. Hundreds of them. Lined up in rows. Silent. Staring. Waiting. Every version wore a different expression, frustrated. Anxious. Tired. Overconfident. Hopeless. Distracted. Motivated but inconsistent. Disciplined for a week then quit. Liam's heart pounded. What is this? The stranger's voice dropped to a whisper. The room of every path you almost took. Liam swallowed hard. These are all the versions of you the world almost got. The ones you started becoming but abandoned. The ones built from half efforts, half dreams, half commitments. Liam shivered as he stared at the copies. One version looked healthier. One looked broken. One looked wealthy. One looked defeated. One held a book. One held a phone. One held nothing at all. Then the stranger pointed to a figure standing in the very center of the room. But that is the one you're fighting. Liam turned slowly. The Liam in the center wasn't weak. Wasn't tired. Wasn't distracted. He was almost the best version of himself. Almost. Better posture. clearer eyes, stronger frame, more disciplined energy. But something in him was unfinished. Like a statue still missing key features. He radiated potential without completion, a version built from ambition but not mastery. The stranger stepped forward. "This," he said, "is the version of you that will destroy your future if you're not careful. Not the weak one. Not the lazy one." He paused. "But the one who improves just enough to feel proud, and stops." Liam felt his stomach drop. "That version is dangerous," the stranger said, "because he doesn't quit but he doesn't finish. He does 70 of everything. He's good enough to feel successful, but not disciplined enough to reach greatness." Liam stared at the almost version of himself. It was disturbing how familiar it felt. "That version," the stranger continued, "stays consistent for a month. Eats clean for a week. Reads sometimes. Works hard when inspired. He looks like progress, but he never becomes transformation." The almost Liam took a slow step forward. His eyes were calm, but empty. Liam whispered, "Why is he looking at me like that?" The stranger's jaw tightened. "Because he wants your 2025. The almost Liam reached his hand out, not aggressively, but as if offering something. A handshake. A truce. The stranger's voice sharpened. "Do not take his hand." "Why?" "Because that handshake represents the most dangerous decision you can make in 2025, to settle for a slightly better version of your old self instead of becoming the best version of your new self." Liam felt every muscle in his body tighten. The almost Liam stepped closer, movements smooth, confident, seductive in their subtlety. "You don't need to become extraordinary," he said softly. "Just better than before." "Isn't that enough?" Liam shook his head. The almost Liam smiled gently. "This version of you," he said, tapping his own chest, "is easier. Safer. More comfortable. You'll still improve. You'll still grow. You'll still do more than you've ever done." He took another step. "And you'll never have to face the pain required to become elite." Liam's breath caught. He understood now. This wasn't a monster. This wasn't a nightmare. This wasn't his past. This was the version of him that most people settle for, the version that pretends it's enough. The stranger stepped behind Liam. "This is the final identity collapse," he whispered. "The moment when you must choose between good and great." The almost Liam extended his hand again. "Take it," he said. "And you'll never have to struggle again." Liam stared at the hand. He felt its promise: safety, stability, moderate growth, minimal pain. The path of good enough. His hand trembled. He lifted it slowly toward the almost version of himself. The stranger didn't stop him. Because the choice had to be real. Liam paused. Looked at the hundreds of versions around him. Then at the stranger. Then at the future self he'd glimpsed in the visions. Suddenly the room felt like it was holding its breath. Liam whispered 3 words, the words that would determine everything. "I choose growth." And he pulled his hand back. The almost version of Liam blinked, stunned. Then his features cracked. Lines of light split across his body, zigzagging like fractures in porcelain. The stranger shouted, "Step back." Liam leaped backward just as the almost version shattered, exploding into 1,000 shards of bright energy that surged upward like a storm of fireflies. The room shook. The lights flickered. Each fragment dissolved into dust. Then, silence. The chamber dimmed back to white. The stranger placed a steady hand on Liam's shoulder. "You just did what most people never do," he said. Liam swallowed hard. "What's that?" You refused the life of the almost version of yourself. You chose the version your future depends on, not the one your comfort prefers. Liam exhaled, trembling with relief and adrenaline. So, what now? The stranger turned toward the far wall. A door slowly materialized. Not glowing. Not threatening. Just waiting. That, the stranger said softly, is the doorway to the version of yourself you can become. Liam stepped toward it, heart pounding, hands shaking, but eyes full of something he hadn't felt in years: readiness. He reached for the handle and pushed it open. The door opened with a slow, steady creak, nothing dramatic, nothing cinematic. Just a simple, honest sound, the kind that belongs to a doorway that has been waiting a long time to be used. Liam stepped through. And the world shifted again. But not into a battlefield. Not a glowing future city. Not a chamber of mirrored selves. Not a storm of identity or a vision of collapse. This time, it shifted into something painfully normal. A small apartment. His apartment. Unchanged. Unimpressive. Unextraordinary. Dishes in the sink. Crumbs on the table. Notifications buzzing on the counter. Laundry may be clean but probably not piled on a chair. Half-dried towel draped over the couch from yesterday's shower. His laptop still open to a dozen undone tasks. Liam blinked. This is just my place. The stranger stepped through beside him. Yes. Liam frowned. This doesn't feel like the final stage of some epic transformation. The stranger didn't respond. He walked toward the kitchen counter. Tapped the stack of unopened mail. Touched the cold coffee mug still half full. Then turned to Liam with a calm, devastating clarity. This is where people fail. Liam blinked. Fail? Here? In my apartment? Yes. The stranger gestured around the room. This is the part no one warns you about. The part no one glamorizes. The part no one posts online. The part no one congratulates you for. Liam crossed his arms. I don't get it. The stranger stepped closer. Liam, you survived your past. He took another step. You overcame your environment. Another step. You rejected the almost version of yourself. Liam nodded. Yeah, so what's left? The stranger's next words hit like a slow-motion punch. Life. The room went silent. The stranger continued. The real test of becoming the best version of yourself in 2025 isn't the battles with your demons. It's not confronting your trauma or your past or your weaknesses. He gestured again at the apartment. It's doing the right things when life gets normal again. Liam felt his chest tighten. The stranger's voice lowered. The twist is this: the biggest threat to your future self is the ordinary day. The words rattled through Liam's mind. But, normal days are easy, he said. The stranger's eyebrow raised. No. Normal days are deadly. He walked to the fridge. Opened it. Half leftovers. Half junk. Potential mixed with neglect. Normal days, the stranger said, are when you stop noticing the small decisions. He pointed at the couch. You sit down for 5 minutes. The phone lit up. You scroll for 5 minutes. Notifications pinged. You lose 1 hour. A craving hits. You order food instead of cooking. A task feels boring. You tell yourself you'll do it tomorrow. Each example felt like a stone dropped directly on Liam's chest. The stranger continued, voice steady but deadly precise, it's not storms that keep people from becoming the best version of themselves. It's comfort. He pointed toward the piles of laundry.
There are no demons attacking you here.
He pointed at the dirty dishes.
No dramatic conflicts.
He pointed at the unmade bed.
No identity crises.
He gestured broadly at the room. Just the small temptations that quietly kill greatness.
Liam swallowed hard. So what do I do?
The stranger looked at him with eyes sharp as truth. You build systems that force your future forward even when nothing is pushing you.
Liam felt something click inside his chest.
This was the part he'd always underestimated. The part he never saw in movies. The part no self-help video truly showed.
Not the heroic transformation, but the invisible discipline.
The stranger walked toward the apartment door and placed a hand on the knob. The twist, he said quietly, is that becoming the best version of yourself isn't about overcoming the hard days.
He opened the door halfway. It's about conquering the average ones. Liam felt goosebumps rise across his skin. And how do I do that? He asked.
The stranger stepped aside, revealing someone standing on the other side of the doorway.
Liam blinked.
Another version of himself, but different from the ones he'd seen before. This one didn't radiate power. Didn't look futuristic or elite or hardened by chaos.
Didn't glow with discipline or strength. No. This version of Liam looked normal. Wearing regular clothes. Holding keys in one hand. A grocery list in the other.
But there was something quietly powerful about him, something subtle but undeniable.
A steadiness. A calmness. A clarity. This version of Liam wasn't brilliant. Wasn't superhuman. Wasn't extraordinary. He was consistent.
The stranger stepped back. This, he said, is the version of you who wins 2025. Liam stared at him. The stranger's voice softened, almost proud.
This version doesn't conquer mountains. He conquers routines. This version doesn't transform in a day. He transforms by showing up every day. This version doesn't wait for motivation. He builds momentum. The normal Liam looked at him with steady eyes. Liam whispered, "So who is he?"
The stranger smiled, small, quiet, real.
He is the version of you who keeps going, after the story ends. Liam felt a chill run up his spine. Because he understood.
The real best version of himself wasn't a superhero. It was the man who lived in this apartment. Who made choices today? Who didn't break promises to his future?
Liam stepped forward. The stranger nodded.
The final rule is simple, he said. Your future is built by the version of you who shows up when no one is watching.
Liam exhaled. It was time.
He extended his hand toward the normal, consistent version of himself. Their fingertips touched and the world went white.
The moment everything flips.
When the world went white, Liam felt a strange sensation, not like falling, not like floating, but like being pulled inward. As if every version of himself, every choice he'd ever made, every path he might take, condensed into a single point of light. Then the light shattered.
Not violently. Not painfully. But like a shell breaking open. And Liam found himself standing in his apartment. Same room. Same dishes. Same half-folded laundry. Same unfinished tasks. But something was different. Very different.
Because the normal, consistent version of himself, the one from the doorway, was sitting on the couch, waiting for him.
Liam gasped. What are you doing here?" The other Liam looked up calmly. "You invited me." Liam swallowed. "I don't understand."
The stranger's voice echoed behind him.
"You will." Liam turned.
The stranger now stood inside the apartment, no longer in some surreal dimension, no longer surrounded by visions or shifting worlds. He was here. Real. Solid. Grounded. As if the entire journey had led them to this room. And now, the real lesson began. The stranger walked toward the other Liam, the consistent one, and placed a hand on his shoulder. "This," he said, "is the version of you that wins." Liam stared between them, heart thumping. But why is he here? In my apartment? The stranger exhaled slowly. Because this is the twist, Liam. He gestured to the consistent Liam. He's not your future. Liam's eyebrows pulled together. But earlier you said, I said he wins, the stranger corrected gently. I didn't say he comes later. He stepped closer, his eyes locking onto Liam's with sharp intensity. He is not the man you become. He is the man you must be today. The words hit Liam like a tidal wave. The stranger continued, You've been thinking about your future self as someone far away, someone you reach after months of discipline, after breakthroughs, after battles. But the truth is, he pointed at the consistent version. The best version of yourself appears the moment you stop waiting for him. Liam felt the air leave his lungs. The stranger stepped back. Your transformation doesn't start in 6 months. It doesn't start after you fix your habits, your lifestyle, your routines. He pointed at the floor. It starts now. In this apartment. In this moment. With what you do next. The consistent Liam stood up and approached him. He wasn't superhuman. Wasn't glowing. Wasn't flawless. He was just present. Grounded. Steady. Real. I'm not your future, the consistent Liam said softly. I'm your identity. Liam stared, stunned. My identity? Yes, the consistent Liam said. The identity shift already happened. You already made the decision. I'm not some vision of what comes next. I'm who you are now if you choose me. Liam's mind raced. The stranger walked past him, touching the fridge door, the couch, the cluttered table. You thought the final battle would be dramatic, he said. You thought it would be a monster, a shadow, a storm, a giant. He turned to Liam. But it's not. He pointed to the fridge. It's the food you choose tonight. He pointed to the couch. It's whether you scroll or read. He pointed to the bedroom. It's whether you wake up tomorrow on purpose or by accident. He pointed to the desk. It's whether you show up when no one is watching. He spread his hands across the apartment. This is the arena. Liam felt a slow shock ripple through him. All the battles. All the visions. All the transformations. They were about preparing him for this ordinary life. The stranger stepped beside the consistent Liam. There is one final question, he said. One that decides whether you become the best version of yourself in 2025. He paused. Will you allow this version, he nodded to the consistent Liam, to take control? The consistent Liam extended a hand. Not forceful. Not desperate. Not dramatic. Just steady. A hand that said, I don't need motivation. I don't need hype. I don't need a perfect day. I just need to show up every day. Liam's breath shook. This is harder than facing the giant, he whispered. Yes, the stranger said. Because consistency requires courage, the kind no one praises you for. Liam stared at the outstretched hand. He imagined the future he wanted, the confidence. The clarity. The purpose. The discipline. The strength. The peace. The growth. Then he imagined the future he feared, stagnation.
regret, comfort that rots into disappointment,
potential that dies quietly.
He knew the truth.
Both futures were built here, in this apartment, in these ordinary moments, through this one identity shift, choosing consistency over intensity.
Process over perfection. Growth over comfort. Action over intention. Liam reached out.
His fingertips touched the consistent version's hand.
A quiet shockwave rippled through the room, not violent, but deep.
The two versions merged.
No explosion. No bright light. No special effects. Just one man. Standing in his apartment. Different. The stranger exhaled. It is done.
Liam felt something he'd never felt before, a clear, grounded calm.
A sense of direction.
A certainty that wasn't loud, but unshakable. He looked at the stranger.
So this is the best version of me?
The stranger shook his head.
No, he stepped forward and put a hand on Liam's chest. This is the version capable of becoming him.
Liam nodded slowly, understanding fully.
The best version of himself wasn't a destination. It was a direction.
One he had finally turned toward. The stranger smiled, the warmest, rarest smile Liam had seen from him.
Now, he said, the real journey begins. And with that, he vanished.
Leaving Liam standing in his apartment alone, ready, and finally reborn.